The latest on the search for this man suspected of breaking in and beating up two elderly people.
A deadly stabbing in West Jackson leaves a man dead. What police are saying about the person responsible.
Plus, preliminary competition is now underway in the competition for the title of Miss Tennessee.
And Chief Meteorologist Tom Miners is monitoring the potential for flooding from Tropical Storm Cindy. He'll have an update on the amount of rain ahead. That's coming up.
Now, from West Tennessee's News Channel, this is 7 Eyewitness News at 10.
For a second night, a man suspected of beating up a 96-year-old woman and an 80-year-old man is on the run.
As we first told you last night, James Hill was last spotted running from officers in Camden. Tonight, we're learning more about him and how he was able to get away. WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News reporter Brittany Hardaway joins us live in studio with tonight's top story. Brittany?
Officers say they have James Hill's accomplice in custody. They just need help finding Hill, who authorities believe could be anywhere. James Hill spends another night on the run after investigators say a Camden police officer spotted him and Dakota Baggett at this gas station Tuesday night.
He pulled up and approached the two subjects, spoke with them. At that time, one of them walked away from him while he was loading the other one into the car, taking him into custody, and the other one turned and ran on foot.
Baggett is now in custody, but Benton County Sheriff Kenny Christopher says Hill ran to a nearby Dollar Tree where he changed clothes and left his shirt in the trash.
We brought in THP helicopters. We brought in tracking dogs with the Marshal Service and searched the area for several hours and did not find the second person.
Baggett is suspected in 2 home invasions, the first in Carroll County that sent a 96-year-old woman to the hospital, and the second was in Humphreys County where an 80-year-old man was hurt.
I feel, according to our victim, they may have left the residence and left him for dead.
Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis says Carroll and Humphreys County deputies executed search warrants Wednesday morning on the stolen vehicle found at the scene.
Items was also found in relationship to the break-in or the incident that happened here in New Johnsonville.
Humphreys County deputies say Hill has an extensive criminal history dating back to 2008, which includes drug, theft, and probation charges. Sheriff Christopher says Hill has been arrested in Benton County several times as well. Investigators say it's important to recognize situations like this.
There are people out there that prey on those of us that have big hearts and try to help people. Please be aware of these types of situations.
Right now, Dakota Baggett is being held at the Benton County Jail on an outstanding warrant. He'll be taken to Carroll County next. Live in the studio, Brittany Hardaway, WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News.
Brittany, thank you. Now, the Humphreys County Sheriff's Department is offering a cash reward for your help in finding Hill. If you've seen him or know where he might be, call your local law enforcement.
In our continuing coverage, still no names have been released in the deadly stabbing early this morning in West Jackson. Investigators were called out around 3 o'clock this morning and found a man in his 30s inside a home on Glendale Street with stab wounds. Police say the man went to the hospital but later died. Officers say they have a suspect in custody and say they do not believe this was a random crime. New details tonight on Jackson appearing on a Department of Justice list of 12 cities across the country receiving help in combating crime. Members of the Jackson Police Department were in Maryland earlier this week for a national summit where the hub city was announced as a participant in the National Public Safety Partnership Program. TBI records show more than 6,000 arrests were made by Jackson Police in 2016.
Well, if you didn't have a chance to see the first sunset of summer, you sure missed a nice one. Tonight was a beautiful view, and we got a lot of photos in from viewers like you of that sunset. It's certainly a colorful sky. Thanks to Angie for sending this one to me on Twitter. Got this one in an email from Greg. A lot of orange and red. The sky looked like it was like on fire tonight. Another one from Tivania, and also Wesley Sanders sent this one in too. Great shots tonight, folks, so thanks again for sharing those. We love to see the beautiful sky lit up with that sunset. But I suspect that we're going to be getting some photos potentially of some flash flooding. It's going to be a concern for us going forward this week, where the heavy showers are still off to our south, but we've got some light rain in northern Mississippi that's heading in this direction. So this is going to be the start of a wet pattern for West Tennessee starting tomorrow on Thursday. I'm now starting to think that there could be some areas getting up to 6 inches of rain in parts of West Tennessee tomorrow. You can see the summary of the headlines, though, brought to you by David White's Body Shop, where we're going to have a soaking wet start to Thursday with showers coming and going for the next 2 days pretty much, but heavy rain could lead to flash flooding. So I'll talk about where we could see that heavy band of rain set up coming up in your next look at the forecast. Brad, back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. Across the state, an evacuation order was lifted earlier today after a tanker truck overturned outside of Nashville last night. The accident causing corrosive sulfuric acid and diesel to spill onto the roadway. No one was hurt. About 600 gallons of the acid, also known as battery acid, spilled from the tanker. Nearby businesses and a hotel were evacuated until this morning as a precaution.
Around the southeast, Tropical Storm Cindy has claimed the life of a 10-year-old boy in Fort Morgan, Alabama. The boy from St. Louis, who was with his family, was walking along the waterfront when a huge wave sent a giant log barreling toward him. It hit him in the head, severely injuring his face and possibly crushing his skull. The boy was pronounced dead at the scene. Officials warned to stay away from the water as the storm approaches.
Around the world, the Islamic State group has destroyed the Al-Nuri Mosque in Mosul and the iconic Leaning Minaret. According to Iraq's Ministry of Defense, fighters detonated explosives inside the structures late Wednesday night. Iraqi forces launched a push into Mosul's Old City earlier this week, where the last ISIS fighters were holed up with an estimated 100,000 civilians, according to the United Nations.
Across the country, the FBI says a Canadian man charged with stabbing an airport officer in the neck in Flint, Michigan, made references during the attack to people being killed in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Authorities are investigating the attack by Amor Fatoui as an act of terrorism. They say the investigation is in the early stages. He emerged from the restroom yelling, "God is great" in Arabic, and attacked the officer with a 12-inch knife. Dominic Hegan Brown, the former Wisconsin police officer who fatally shot Sylvie Smith during an August 2016 foot chase, is found not guilty of first-degree reckless homicide. Hegan Brown was also cleared of 2 lesser charges. The defense claimed he made a split-second decision to protect his life and another officer when he thought Smith reached for a gun.
Congressman Steve Scalise's condition continues to improve tonight, 1 week after being shot in Northern Virginia. MedStar Washington Hospital Center says Scalise is now in fair condition. The hospital adds the Louisiana Republican and House Majority Whip is now starting rehabilitation. The FBI announcing today the shooter, James Hodgkinson, acted alone and the shooting had no connection to terrorism.
New at 10, competition is underway for the title of Miss Tennessee 2017. Tonight, the 36 contestants performed before a live audience at the Carl Perkins Civic Center in downtown Jackson and competed on stage in the talent, swimsuit, and evening gown categories.
The coolest thing about being here is that we're in Jackson and there's girls competing for a state crown, and we just want to kind of be a little bit a part of it.
And we will have the winners of the preliminary competitions tonight in talent and swimsuit coming up as soon as those winners are called in.
As we get closer to Kelly's final day on the air, we hear from co-workers that have been at her side over the years.
And see what Cindy has produced so far as the storm is soon to hit landfall.